Okay, I've done a few versions of this particular frame layout. I showed you the photograph in the beginning of the version that I'm working from today, okay? And what I've done is I've used up lots and lots of different stamps, frame stamps that I've got around the house or collected. I didn't realise how many I had until I actually started looking. And we've just used some washi tapes and some rub-ons and other bits and pieces, just some transparencies that I had as well. So it's a great opportunity for you to pick a theme. In this case, I've picked butterflies, and then just go and have a look around and see what you've got. If you're someone who collects lots of postage stamp styles or lots of dragonflies or bees or anything like that, then you can just carry the theme all the way through your page. Now, this one I have done on a separate page, but I've also done a number of them when I first got into them. Well, not got into them, I practiced it a few times. And those ones, the first one that I did was this one here. And that one, sorry, I hope you can see that okay. That one I used a whole bunch of rub-ons that I had left over from Kaisercraft from many years ago. I was actually quite shocked when they stuck down. And I've also got some of the bubble embellishments that 49 Market do, along with some bits and pieces of ephemera. So that one was sort of my practice run. And I didn't actually back that one, I just put acetate behind it. And then this one I did it as a double page. So I basically sandwiched two sheets together so that I could stamp behind, which was in the original example that I saw, and I will put up a link to her Instagram page, the lady that I actually got the idea from, and then you can also see her work too, because it's always good to give credit when you get inspiration from someone else. Anyway, same sort of deal. I found a bunch of rub-ons that were decorative, and then I finished them off. I finished the frames off by just drawing in between them, so you can see. If I bring this up a little bit closer, these were rub-ons here. I think they were really old Bo Bunny ones, maybe. Lots of washi again. And then I sandwiched, once I put the acetate in behind the cut windows, I actually then sandwiched the two of them together so that my next journal page was blank and you could use it straight away. So for the purposes of demonstrating this one to you and teaching it to you, I'm going to do it on a separate page, and then I'm going to stick it into my 8x8 journal this time, whereas those other ones were more along the lines of 6.5, 7, I think they were. They weren't as big as this one's going to be. So I started off with a piece of craft. You're going to need 2 if you're going to leave them outside of your journal. Otherwise, if you're going to stick them inside your journal and you want to back it onto a craft background with some text stamp behind, like I've done with the other one, then you're going to need a second piece of craft, okay? Now, what I've done is I am going to put a die cut frame in the center. This one is one that I have cut from a Tim Holtz die. That is a frame die. And I was trying to be really organized and have it all sitting here close by. I'll put that also at the end as well. And that's a frame die. It's an oval and a rectangle. I've tried to choose designs that are easy to cut out with a knife, so I've avoided ovals and circles or decorative shapes and just stuck to rectangles and squares. So this one's going to form, I think, my central image. And another nice idea was when Jodine and I both sort of saw the design, and both each had a go, and they were entirely different. And I must put up Jodine's at the end of the class as well to show you what hers looked like. But she had actually run her brayer over the back with some speckled egg distress paint, very lightly, and a bit of white, just so that it was actually tone on tone with blue and craft. And that looked fantastic as well. So rather than copy hers directly, I'll stick to the original design that I did for you, but I will put up a copy of hers at the end as well. The alternative is that you could also make up a craft coloured die, a craft coloured frame, I beg your pardon, and you could then emboss that through an embossing folder, or you could ink it around the edges, or you can colour it up to match if you did the paint in the background as well. So that's an alternative idea, so you can cut it in craft. So what I've also done is I've collected up a few stamps that I have. So this one here is an Elizabeth Crafts frame stamp. That's the main one I'm going to use today, and I like it because it's got lots of straightforward shapes on it. And if I really wanted to use the circle, it probably fits one of my dies exactly. So I could actually, or a punch, I could actually put it close to the edge where the punch would reach, and then I could put a circle one in there for interest. The other things that I have is I've actually got some Stamperia frames, decorative frames that I had from another set that I'm trying to remember what that one belonged to. I can tell you when I find it. And they had butterflies and things in the center, and I've just popped those out. And so then that adds a bit of interest instead of just straight rectangles. And then I've also put together, I've got a nice set here from Sizzix that's got a beautiful quote on it. I'm actually going to use this creativity quote because they're really hard to find in a stamp. I'm actually going to use this creativity quote in a corner somewhere to title my page, just for a change, instead of using the strips from my Chit Chat and Big Chat from Tim Holtz. And the other thing that I've collected is I've got some postage stamp dies, stamps, I beg your pardon, at Ticket Booth, and this one is Field Notes, and they're great for little background additions into the page that just basically fill in the background without distracting away from the butterflies and the frames. That's really the central focus of the page. So what I'll do first of all is probably just stamp up a couple of my decorative frames because I don't want them to distract too much, but I do want to add a little bit of interest. Just make sure that you use an ink that is fast drying and permanent, because if we splash some colour around later, then you're going to make the ink move. So you want to make sure that it's permanent first of all. Now I was going to save that for my quote, so I might just pop a rectangle here, and it's crooked. Well done. Okie doke. And then I will grab another one here, and this one is also quite a big one. Sorry, also quite a big one. So I'm going to probably put it so that it's partly off the page. And don't get too stressed if you miss some spots or the line's not there completely, because what you can do is come back later on and actually draw in your line as well with the black pen. Because it's got so much other detail on it, it's not going to be hugely noticeable if it's got a small imperfection in it. So that one there I've done. And I'll just quickly wipe up any excess ink there. Okay, still keeping with the concept that I want to put my frame in the center. This one here, I'll distract it a little bit with a little washi and maybe straighten it up. And then I'm going to use some of these ones, and I haven't used them before. A little trick that Jodine taught me was that if you apply some powder from your anti-static tool, straight onto your stamp, it prepares them for ink so that the ink doesn't bubble or bleed, bead on your surface. And then you get a nice clean stamped image. You don't have to kind of condition it. I don't find erasers and things like that work very well. So newest thing on the market is the Tailored Expressions powder tool. Love it because it actually lays down loads and loads of powder. I don't have to worry about a little bag that leaves powder all through my tool bag. And also, who doesn't like a neat tool that works properly? So that's me. Just blow off the excess powder on there. Okay, and then I'm going to ink this one up as well. Okay, excuse me. Right, and I might pop this one over here. Okay, I'm going to go on and stamp the rest of my frames. And so I'll speed that up a little bit, and then we'll come back and move on to the next part. really not happy with that one down the bottom here. So I'm wondering if I can cut a bigger, if I can find a stamp that's bigger than that, and then I can cut the centre out of it, because it really bothers me that it's crooked. I know that we shouldn't aim for perfection with art journaling, but it really just bugs me that it's crooked. Not gonna get away with it, I don't think. I'll try and come up with a solution as I'm working and see what I can come up with. Okie doke. So now I'm going to actually stick my frame down, because that's kind of the anchor of my page. And if you wanted to, you could go this way, but I'm going to frame it this way. And hopefully it's centered. Sometimes you look at things and you think they're square and they're not, and you step away and you think, oh, how did I get that so wrong? Okay, it looks square to that one and to that one, so that's good. This one I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do. Now these ones down here, I can darken those up when the time comes to cut them out. I can go over them with pen. I switched over the inks to VersaFine Clair because I find sometimes archival, it's great for background stamping, but sometimes it's just not as crisp as VersaFine Clair. But VersaFine Clair will smudge if you're doing ink blending and that sort of thing. So sometimes you've got to switch between inks depending on what you're doing as well. So the next thing that I need to do is to cut out some frames. I'm not going to cut them all out. I'm just going to cut out some of the main ones, because the others are going to form, I guess, when you look at my original example. This one here I didn't cut out, I just put a rub-on straight down onto it, and well, most of the other ones I've cut out anyway. I probably put a couple of less frames, so I'm probably going to cut out, I would say, this one, this one, this one, this one, and maybe this one. I might even leave that one since I've already cut one out over here, and I might leave that one for a piece of washi tape or a small little figure stamp. And then this side one I'll definitely won't cut out, because then it will be off to the edge, so it won't be a complete frame. So that'll look good for also stamping into too. And this one here, it's still bothering me. It's really bugging me actually. No, it's not going to work either. I'll see what I can do. Cover it up in some way. My obsessive need for things to be straight and square, it just looks off when everything else is wrong. Okay, so let me just get the ruler so that I can cut out. Okay, so the main frame's really easy, because you can just, and make sure you've got a new blade. That way you don't have to cut through hundreds of times and risk accidentally overcutting or tearing the paper as well. It's one of the things that I always do, is get lazy and not bother putting a new blade in, and when you finally do it you think to yourself, I wish I'd done this at the beginning. Okay. Right. Do it. And there's our first frame done, nice and easy. Okay, so ruler for the rest of them, because I don't have a guide such as the edge of my frame there. So, whoops. Oh, okay. Caught the side of the ruler where all the plastic has come away. Another thing to note to self, use a metal ruler in the future. Plastic is not the right thing to use with a knife. I also find that when you're cutting with a knife, that it sometimes makes more sense to cut through gently a couple of times instead of really hard the first time going all the way through, because then you might get a nice cleaner cut and you're less likely to veer off and miss your line as well, which I often do. So by sort of scoring the first cut and then a little bit of pressure on the next cut, you can usually do it, keep it nice and neat. And this one has angled corners on it, so I'm just going to gently cut the angled corners out. Okay. Give my sniffing as well. We've all had COVID about a week ago and we're still getting over it as far as the side effects. So I'm constantly sniffing and still coughing a little bit, but thankfully that was the worst of it. Could have been a lot worse, I think. Okay. Right. There we go. Okay. Now, next one, we're going to do the bottom one or the top one. I'm going to leave that one. So I'll cut this bottom one away. Okay, this one done. Now, this one here. Okie doke, so now I've got a decision to make. Which ones am I going to cut out next? I think I'll do what flows better. You know what I'm going to do with this one down here is what I'm actually going to do is use a bigger frame as the template. So it's the center of that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut out a frame from that and then ink it around the edges. There we go, that'll cover up a mistake. So there we go, that's a good idea. So, and then by the time I run a pen around the edge, you could even doodle around the edge if you like to doodle. There we go. And I can move on and not sit there and get cross with it anymore. Okay. This was actually just the offcut of one of the centers of my craft frames when I cut them out as examples. So So yeah, it is the same size as the other one, but we'll put a finer line around the edge so it won't look the same size because of the way we do the lines. Okie doke. There we go. Not quite. This was a new blade. Clearly I should have replaced it again before I started doing this today. Okay. Okay, so now I've created that one, and now I think it just needs some balance. So I've actually changed my mind. I'm actually going to cut this one out because these two can stay whole, and I think it just needs some balance over here with frames. So instead of doing this one, I'm going to do this one now here, just because it feels like it just needed a bit of a balance over there. Rather than adding an extra frame in there, I will just cut out the skinny one here instead, and I'll find something slim to put in there. Okay. Almost there. With the boring part anyway, which is the frames and the cutting. Right. Okay, oops. Okay, so our frames are cut out now, and usually what I would do now is stick my acetate behind it so that I know what I'm working with, and I can start arranging things like washi tape and rub-ons and things like that. And when I find something that fits just right, I can stick it straight down. I'm not very good at laying things out and then doing it all once it's laid out. I like to sort of work and progress through it, which often means I can't undo mistakes if I put something down and change my mind, but I guess it's probably just the way my mind process works. I feel more satisfied when I'm actually completing each stage rather than laying it out. So all I'm going to do is basically put this acetate behind, and then I'm going to move it in ever so slightly so you can't see the edge, and then quick and dirty just cut around the edge again. You don't need any particular thickness of acetate. Anything, any weight is fine. It doesn't need to hold up to anything. It's not a shaky card or anything like that, so it doesn't need to hold up and be rigid. It's really just to create your window behind. I think this one's just Lawn Fawn in their they just do a pack of fairly standard weight. We're getting in some Dress My Crafts acetate that comes in different weights, and they're really thin ones, fantastic if you want to put things like rub-ons and stuff onto it, because sometimes it's easy just to cut it to down, isn't it? Yeah, so when you put things like rub-ons and washi tape over the top of it, it comes out super, super thin. It die cuts beautifully, and then you've got an embellishment that is perfect for popping up. Oops. Okay, so let's do a quick look and see how this fits and make sure it looks okay. Oops. There you go. A bit long on one side. Okay. Oh no, we're not. Okay, it's a little bit off, but what I'll do is I'll just quickly trim this corner down. The girls will laugh at this because I'm always doing things on the fly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run some liquid glue around the edge, but I'm going to set it in a little bit so that it is closer to the frames, so that it catches the washi tape where it's probably a little bit further away from the edge of the card. Okay, and maybe a little bit just in between here, just to, don't put it too close to the frames because you don't want it to sort of like seep in when you lay it down, as well as glue tends to do. And then we can just pop this down, and there we go, glued into place. Okay, and then turn it over. We have our nice windows ready to go. So let's fix up the eyesore first of all, the thing that was bothering me most, which was this crooked frame down here. Let's show you how to finish that up so that it looks finished. So I didn't have a pen out handy because I didn't go in there. Right. Okay, so what I've got with me is I've got a fine tip, and I've also got a brush tip and a medium tip of Pitt pens. They're nice and easy to use, they lay down beautifully, they're waterproof. They do it in a white as well. The white's not as opaque as some of your paint markers, etc., but they are really great for, especially if you put clear gesso or matte medium over a surface, you've got a couple of minutes just to sort of, or a couple of seconds just to smear them as well if you want to soften them. So I think the brush edge will look just fine on this, and then I can thicken it up if I want to. We'll see how it goes. We can even doodle some stitching around it or something like that, just to tie it in with the rest of the page too. So we'll have a look at it at the end and decide if it needs anything else, just to finish it off, if it looks too plain or if it sticks out. And what it also does is it just covers up where it's crooked anywhere in the, where I've cut it to. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I think that's probably going to look nice with a bit of a stitch, or maybe some doodled loops or something around the edge of it, keeping in mind that I've got two decorative frames over here. So whatever I do here, I don't want to make it too modern because it is kind of fairly traditional all over the place, I think. Well, it's fairly structured anyway. And these ones here, again, I can use this one, or I can go and I can use one of the finer ones just to darken it up so that it makes the windows pop once we start putting things into it. So the next thing to do now is to start adding some embellishments such as washi tape and butterflies, and then when that's done, we'll know where we need to stick some stamping to fill in places and start to tie it all together. So I will collect up my washi tape and embellishments, I think, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have been off rummaging and I have found some bits and pieces, and I thought I'd try and use as much as what is still available and around, rather than stuff that's eons old and in my stash, because that's kind of pointless for you guys that you might have. But have a look at what you've got. It's a great way to use up lots and lots of leftovers as well. So I have found some rub-ons that have just come out with Curators Botanical, and so there's 49 and Market, just so for those who don't know. And so that's got some butterflies in there, and it's got a, give that to me. Oh, sorry, Poodle just stole a plastic leaf. Poodle is naughty. No, it's not Poodle. Okay, right, sorry about that. Okay, so okay, so these three butterflies I think are going to fit a treat in the center of this one here, or down on this one here. I might use something botanical to match it. in the edges here. And then I've certainly got some script over here. And then I have got some other butterflies that have come out of other 49 Market sets that are also in a yellow theme or in other colours that I can use too. And they can either go straight down or they can be put onto a piece of acetate and fussy cut around and then popped up like I've done with the other pieces. So here we go. We'll just get started and see what comes of it, I think. So let's start with this one first. Oh, get out of it. No. Okay, so here is the first one. And I think that's quite a central image. It's quite eye-catching, so I think we'll put that right in the center there. So we'll just give it a little press down so that it grabs. Look at that. So we can easily get our sand eraser and remove those excess bit of rub-ons on the side there so that we neaten it up. But now we've got a lovely see-through butterfly image on our main frame. And then what I'll do is I'll get my eraser and I'll remove those little bits on the side there. Okay, so the next one, what else have I got? Oh, I've got a little tiny one here. And I think he would look super cute in there. So I'm going to put him in there. So he's going to sit in there like that. No, stop it. Okay, it looks good there. Look at that, that's lovely. Okay. Okay, now I want to add a bit of contrast in there for colour. So I might put, let me have a look. Is that going to fit in there? Maybe not. What about this leaf? Might wait till the end for that one. I think this purple butterfly is going to look nice over here as a half. So I want to make it all yellow. So I'm going to cut out half this one. So what I'll do is I'll pop him over here. And stick him about there. It's amazing how rub-ons have made such a resurgence ever since 49 of Market have decided to bring them out to go with all the... I mean, I've always loved them. But I think that a lot of people, they had a bit of a bad taste in their mouth from the original lots of rub-ons that came out because the glue just didn't last for very long and only had about a 6-month life on it. And so that's kind of disappointing for people, obviously. And I think the new generation rub-ons are probably much better quality as well. I don't want to name names of companies previously, but you know, I think the new generation stuff is much higher quality, and I think you can expect that it will last long. They will last longer. But what's the point of having things in your stash if you don't use them, I suppose, is the other argument. Now this one can either sit up in here or he can sit down here in a corner like that. I think would be nice. So that's just a little washi tape postage stamp off a set, also from 49 Market, and that was also part of the Curators Botanical. And there's a new set that's come out that's coming with 2 new ranges that Katie Pertier has done as well, which are also lovely. So I can't wait to get those too. So probably by the time we release this class, they'll be here. Okay, now I need to add a little bit more contrast in colour. So I might put this blue one up here, I think. This one's going to be Crazy Rub-Ons rather than transparencies and washi, I suppose. Now, that little bit of foliage that goes off to the edge there here, I kind of want to keep that because it's pretty. So, what I might do, make sure it doesn't look, move the butterfly in a bit. And I think I might actually transfer that over there. And then push the rub-on down to the edge there. Oh, that's nice, yeah, that looks lovely. I'll blacken up that edge there so that it's continuous, and then it'll just come up to here. I think that's nice, having it overflowing like that. Okay, let's have a look. What else can we put in here that's going to look nice? Let's put in a bit of black. Now we can do black with stamping as well, which I should probably just do instead maybe. And then we can also put in washi tape. So let's have a look at the washies that we still have that I've got out. Oh, the other half will fit in there. Just put in there. What am I going to do? I'll save him. I'll decide in a minute. Okay. Right, washi tape. Let's see. Anything will do. I always try and pick stuff that sort of goes together. So it's a bit of a botanical creation. So I think botanical is the theme for my washi tape as well. And I've just got to find where it will fit nicely. So I can take my washi tape all the way along here. Okay. And then I think washi tape looks nice when it's layered up. Seems to make more sense. So oops, and overlap the frame there. I might add some stitching down the bottom here. Oh gosh. Right. Okay. And then there's a lovely green leafy one that matches it out of the set. So I can put that one. Just part of the way along there, and then I can just trim off the excess there. Okay, now what else have I got here? Got some images on this one. That's quite nice as well. So we've got some little birdies there. We've got some frames. Let's just tear a bit off and see. How about some... I like that little frame there that doesn't have too much structure around the outside of it, so it doesn't distract from the other frames. So what I might do is cut it down. Because it doesn't seem to have a direction on it, we can put it lengthways and then trim it. Oops. I made a bit of a mess of that. Okay. Beauty washi, you can put it on and rip it off and put it on and rip it off. Eventually it'll need to be glued down. Okay, right, there we go. So we put him over there. And then we've still got 2 spots here that have nothing in them. And so we can find some more washi for that, or we can... What I think would look nice for these is if we actually put some butterflies on acetate, because then they would sit up and have a little bit of shape to them as well. So I'll get some of the acetate scrap that I had here, and I'm going to rub this blue one on there. And this is where, when your images don't necessarily fit into the shape that you're using, that when you pop them up so that their wings overlap the edge but they're transparent, then they don't sort of overtake as much. So you could put him up here and you can still see the frame on the outside, whereas if you had have laid it straight down onto it, you probably would have lost all your lines and it wouldn't kind of make sense. It would just look like a bit overcrowded and probably like it doesn't belong. So let's see how this looks once I've fussy cut it out. Because I'll remove a lot of the background there and just follow the lines of the butterfly. Oh, okay. Okay, so... It's funny, when I started to do this first project, I had a panic because I didn't own any frame stamps, and then when I started to go through my things, I realised just how many frame stamps I actually did have, and I was shocked. And a lot of them were never used either, so I think we're all a bit the same when it comes to the things that we buy and we put away thinking that, oh, that will be perfect one day, or I love those, and then we move on to other things and we forget about them. And so that's why I like these kind of projects, because then we get to come back to visit those things and make something for ourselves, not for any other reason other than it looks pretty. Okay, so now that's on acetate, and all I can do is just bend him in the middle. So he's no longer a rub-on, he's permanent. And he's not going to go anywhere. Just trim off that a little bit there. And then we can stick some glue down the center of him, and now he sits. I'll put him in this solid one up here that's nice and strong, so that I can tidy up that other one before I put something else on that. So this is a collage, so it's not meant to be perfectly aligned or anything like that. It's the whole idea is a collage together. It's just bringing everything together, and as long as you're picking a similar theme or sticking to like I said, botanical, I guess would be the word that I would use for this one, then things start to tie together. And just try not to add too many colors in there. I'll stick him down first and then bend him up a bit later. Okay, so then for this little one, this one's so narrow that I think that one we just need to stick some washi tape, or maybe just some script rub-ons on there maybe, or something like that. And same, this one here over here I need to finish still. I need to put something else in there, and I think what I might do is I might put that leaf that we were looking at before, now that I've come back to it. I think that'll look nice just feeding out of it. But what I'm going to do is probably make it three-dimensional. So, why don't you stay where you're supposed to stay? We'll flatten you off first and we'll bend you later, like I said I would. Right. Okay, so we might do the same thing. Actually, that would also look really good over that one too. Decisions. I'll put the foliage over here, I think, and I'll put that also onto acetate. Now, also, I have got acres and acres of things like leaves, and this is a, oops, you know, this was a Scrap FX transparency too of butterflies that I've got sitting here as well. A little tiny one. Oh, he might look cute up there. Maybe I'll grab him and put him up there as well. So have a rummage through of what you've got. Tissue paper is a nice one too, because tissue paper, again, you can just collage that straight down like you would a rub-on or a transfer, just with a little bit of transfer glue. That would look nice. So I think we might pop him up there. Ooh, or he would even look really nice in the middle of this frame here, actually. That's where he's going to go. Yep. Okay. And then this here, I'm thinking that this one should sit over this one. And I'm just wondering if I rub it down or do I overlap it like I did with this one. Might look better straight down. Yep. Straight down, I think. Okay. I'm just going to have a look at it. Yeah, I like that, rather than it trailing off onto the rest of the page. So I'm just going to, I'll darken that edge up with my pen as well. I don't need to repeat the same techniques too many times on one page, because then it just starts to get repetitive, and the whole idea is it's meant to kind of look rustic and random. Okay, so my little friend over here can get quickly cut out. And the beauty of transparencies and rub-ons is that you don't have to get too worried about getting close to the edges of the lines, because they're clear, which is makes it nice and easy. Nicer than just stickers that have white edges on them. Okay, oops. Take off some of the sharp corners there. Okey-doke. And I think I might just glue him down. He doesn't need to stand up. He can just be glued down. Now, if you've got any questions, because this is pre-recorded, obviously just send me a quick note, an email, and I can answer the questions. If you want to ask about anything of the products that I've used, or it hasn't been clear on the video, or I haven't had it close enough for you to see, that's no problem at all. I'm happy to do that, and you just give me a call, or sorry, I mean, give me a shout out on email or messenger, and I will quickly answer your questions. I don't mind at all. Then we've got 2 more frames still to fill, and then we've got this one here that we need to finish as well, because he's unfinished. And I think what I might do is actually stick a second washi postage stamp over. See how that looks. Okay, right. To the corner there. Okay, I'm happy with that, and then I'll just do a little stitch around the edge of it. And the last one that I really think needs something in it, because can't just leave that one plain, has got to be this one here. And I need something really quite small, I think, for that one. But what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to get my pen, my medium pen, and I'm just going to quickly race around the edges of it. Just to darken it up, because the archival, as much as I love it, it really needs to be well inked. And craft is super absorbent too, so it doesn't sort of sit on the surface and stay really black. Sometimes it needs to be stamped a couple of times, and obviously I haven't done this in a MISTI or a stamping press at all. I've just done it straight down, so I have to live with what I've got. Okay, now see, that just looks a little bit better now. It's darkened up a little bit. I don't have to get too carried away with it, because it's looked at a distance. You don't ever look at things really closely. This little one up here, and I know that the more I fuss with it, I'll end up messing something up. It's always the way. So I'm going to leave that one as it is. And I actually have what have I got? The rest of this pack. Oh, so got some little postage stamps that would fit in there. That's quite cute. I've got some words too, but I don't think I'll use them just yet. I think I'll put, because if I try and stamp in there, I'll end up making a mess of it, as I always do. So what I might do is, I like these ones here. See how they're sort of partial? I might just use those ones. So scissors. Spend my whole life looking for my scissors. Now, blues twice. I've got purple in there once. Haven't used purple again. Might need to add a bit of purple just to make it look like it belongs. Okay. And he fits in there like he was made for it. There we go. Okay, and we'll just push him in. Okay, so our windows are just about finished, and I think what I might stick is one of these little words up there into this little window in here. And so I think will be, I like the word the details. Oh, that's a good one. So what about the details captured? That's a good one too. Okay, so that's actually quite a nice size, those two, because that kind of fills the length. So, details captured. Oops. Ooh. Start again. Right. Okay, look at that, lovely. So now all we're left with is the outside space and the tidy up here where I've gone over the edge with the rubber, and I'll grab my sand eraser and finish that up for the final pictures. But what I've got over here now is some spots that just need filling, and I can either do things like using my chit chat stickers if I want to put some more quotes in there. I think I can do like for instance, if you've got the impossible is often untried, so I could stick that through the center of that washi tape there, or I could pop it down here over that one, or I could put it through here, put that aside and see if that's something I decide to use. And then having a look at my field notes, which are almost always my go-to because they have such great little things to put around the place. I might do that. Okay, so because I'm clumsy, I'm still looking for my stamp. Sorry. Looking for my stamping book. Nope, lost it. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up and try not to be clumsy, and I'm going to stick it overlapping there. Okay, and then I might do it overlapping over here. Okay, and then pop that one aside and grab a different one. Perhaps some numbers. Okay. Okay, so I might just put some little numbers in there and just off to the side there, and perhaps just up there. Whoops, partial stamp. There we go. Okay, so I'm still looking a little bit empty here and there, so maybe I might put, oh, a favourite, this one there. Okay, and could really just keep going, to be honest, and then you end up crazy with stuff everywhere. So let's have a look. The impossible is often untried. That kind of ties in with creativity, doesn't it? So I wonder if I can get those two together. Let me cut it in half and see if I can get them above and below each other. Okay. Possible is often the untried. So if that one sits there, and then that one sits directly underneath, ooh, but it's going to fit. It's not going to look very good. No. What about sticking out a bit like it doesn't belong there, isn't it? Let's have a look. Good thing about being pre-recorded is that you can fast forward through my babble as well. Even better. There we go. Okay. So okay, not sure what you think, but I think that that's kind of looking balanced. There's not too much going on, but we've got a little bit of stamping. We've drawn ourselves to sort of a colour palette of 3, I suppose, with the purple, blue and yellow. Not too much busyness there. And we've got a small title and another bigger title over here. That creativity, you could bring people's attention to it, but I think I quite like it just down there. And then the only other thing that really you could do, I say, would probably to be doing a line around the edge of the, oh, we were going to do some stitching around here, so I think I might try that. And I think what would look lovely, and I don't have my sewing machine out and ready to go, but certainly you could do some stitching around the edge of the page and do it in a black, I think, because white I think would sort of probably stand out a bit on something that's looking so kind of rustic. That's a nice idea, is to actually do some loose stitching around the edge of the page, but I'm probably just going to do a black line just to frame it. And it's up to you whether you want to do a doodled line or whether you want to do a straight line. I think when I look at it, it's looking like a very loose page, so I think I might just do a hand-drawn line. I always find freehand very stressful. Sorry about that. The joys of recording a video is the poodle who likes to bark at everything in the background. Okay, there we go. You could add some splatter to it if you want. I think I'm quite happy with the fact that I've got some splatter with the rub-ons here, and I've also got some other splatter with the rub-ons there, but I don't think I want to add any more to that. So probably what I'm going to do now is just quickly clean up here where I have gone over the edge with my rub-ons, and I could even do that just with a black pen, but okay, so that's the project done. I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you very much for subscribing to the class. and watching it. And if you've got any questions, please, by all means, please contact me. Oh, I forgot to show you. I apologize. When this goes into your album, then what we need to do is to stick this onto another piece of craft or onto a different background and put some stamping in the background. Silly me, sorry about that. Okay, I'll be back with you in a sec. Okay, what I've had to do is I have had to actually fudge it a little bit because I couldn't find another piece of craft big enough to go behind, so I've done them all in small pieces. But what I've done is I've used a Studio Light script stamp, which goes this way here, and what I've done is I've just cut up a few pieces that go that will fit behind so that it's got some interest behind it. And then I have just basically just going to stick them behind here so that when they appear mounted in your journal, it's just got some interest behind it. It's just so that it's not plain and boring. It's got a bit of interest and texture behind it. And if you want, you can mount it up on a little bit of foam so that it's got a little bit more of a window. So I'll probably do that, I think. So I'll go away and do that. And then I think we would call this finished. So I'm going to mount that up onto foam so that you can see the depth on it, and then it will go into my journal and mount it there. So again, I'll go away and do that, and then I think we're finished. So thank you for joining me.